So now let's take a look at drawing a rectangle. So the rectangle is below the circle, and the simplest one is a corner to corner. Um, and you can see down here, there's a bunch of options. So we'll take a look at these here individually. So if I just pick the first corner, and you can see I'm going upper left, lower right, it's going to follow my coordinate, my XY direction. Now you can do it by area or dimensions. So if you wanted to create a 10 by 10 box, let's say, I would pick D for dimension, and my horizontal dimension would be 10 units. My vertical dimension would be 10 units. And now I've got a 10 by 10 box, right? Now I can, again, hit enter to repeat the command, and I could do a three corner box. So you can either be three corner or three point. So I, have to make sure I clarify. So let's do three corner. So 3C would be the first corner. So if I pick this corner here, my second corner there, and then you can see it's drawing that third corner in this direction here. All right. So let's try the 3 point. So if I do 3P, press enter, it's asking me for my first point, the midpoint of a side. So if I pick, let's say here's the midpoint, and now you can see how it's drawing it from that midpoint and expanding it out. So this would be my third corner point from that midpoint that I just drew. All right. And that's all. When you're over here, you can see that there's these different options. I can go center, right? So I can pick that center point and it's going to draw it out from that center point. So I can pick the corner. If I pick the rectangle command again, you can do a chamfer. So if I hit C for chamfer, and my chamfer length, let's say it's 5 for the first length and 5 for the second length, and I pick a corner. As I draw that object out, you'll see that the corners are going to be chamfered. Going to be chamfered in this case 10 feet because I did 5 and 5 equally. If I repeat that, and let's do the fillet this time, then I pick the radius. So let's say it's a 10-foot radius. Enter there, and I pick the corner. And as I draw, and you can see that it's rounding the corners are going to be 10 feet rounded corners. And then I can, specify it. So if I had, let's say I was doing a parking island and I've got 18 feet of parking space on either side, and I want a 5-foot wide island, then I might go to dimensions, and my horizontal dimensions would be 36 feet by, let's say, 10. And now I basically, because my radius in here was, I had a 10-foot radius, so I probably should have changed that radius or did this at 20. So let's try that again. So I'm going to repeat this, and we're going to do we'll do a fillet with let's do 3-foot radius, and let's do our first corner here, and then we'll do that same thing. We'll do dimensions, where we're going 36 vertically. Let's do 10. And now I've got that curb island that's 10 feet wide by 36 from here to here. And if I split the middle, now I've got 18 feet of parking on one side and 18 feet of parking on the other. So just kind of giving you an idea why you might do or something like that. So I'm just going to select these and delete it. Now the other one I can do, oops, delete. The other one I can do, if I do the rectangle again, is I pick my first point, and let's get rid of the radius. So if I go, um, actually, let's escape, repeat, pick the first point. Oh, before we pick the first point, let's repeat. Make sure you go to fillet, and we want to get rid of the radius. So let's put 0 for the radius. Then I'm going to pick my first corner, and now I can go area. So if I wanted a total area of a rectangle to be, let's say, 500 square feet or square units, um, it's asking me, which way to go, horizontally or vertically. So if I do horizontal, it's going to go in that direction. Let's say, uh, we'll say 50 feet in the one direction. And, oops. So horizontal dimension is 36, we'll say. So it basically figured out the other side. So that area of that object, if we go look at our dimensions and I pick on area and I select entity here, so E for entity, and I pick the entity, it's 500 square units, right? So that one's a little bit tricky. If we do the rectangle command again, and we pick a starting point, you do the area. We'll do it one more time, and then the area is 500. That's our default. And then it's what distance do we want to go? Do we want to go horizontal or vertically? So if I say, uh, horizontally is the default, that's the way we're going. And my known dimension in the horizontal distance, again, let's say is 50. Then, oops, actually, sorry, we do have to go horizontal. Let's go vertical this time. Let's go vertical and then go 50. Then you can see it's going to go 50 this way and then should be 10 that way, giving me or 10 this way, 50 that way, right? Because 50 is the vertical, 10 it would be the horizontal, and therefore I have a basically a 10 by 50-foot rectangle. So just a different way to create the rectangle command. There is a parallelogram where you pick your first corner, you pick your second corner, and then you can see that it's going to hold that same distance. And now I can pick my third corner for the parallelogram. Right, so a lot of different ways to draw the rectangle. The rectangle is a polyline, so you can manipulate it once you draw it. So you can use these grip edits, and we'll talk about the editing in the following uh, chapter.